This is Chris K with your Peak Fitness Hip Lift Variations. Alright, now for our first variation, we're going to utilize a mini band to increase the resistance of the traditional hip lift. Alright, for this, the mini band comes in various colors, kind of depending on strength. I've got a black one here. This is the hardest. It is hard, so you can really kind of move up through, you progress through maybe the green, and then, you move up to a higher color. So what I'm going to do is line my back here. I'm going to cue the client to just press their back into the floor, abs are tight. This band is trying to pull my knees apart, and what I want to do is push this thing apart and just hold at the top for 1 to 2 seconds and come back down. Now what this is doing is it's engaging my abductors, it's telling my glutes to fire, and this is going to just kind of increase the resistance a little bit, just help to facilitate kind of contraction of the glutes and make things a little bit harder. By the same token, what we can do is place this around the feet. All right, and I like this. Is just sort of a different emphasis. What I'm going to do is pull my feet out. I'm actually going to point my feet to the side or outside a little bit to engage my abductors. And I'm just coming up. Pausing at the top, coming back down, just like that. Now from here, one of my favorite exercises is a single leg hip lift with the bands here. So what I'm going to do is just raise one foot up, press through the heel, just get a lot of resistance going on. This top foot is really pulling on the other foot. It's creating some additional resistance and torque. Pressing up, coming down. Really good exercise. Now, moving on to our next implement here, we have a stability ball. All right, what we want a couple variations we have here, and kind of a few moves that train the hamstrings a little bit more are starting with the stability ball, just a straight leg bridge. So what I'm going to ask the client to do, abs are tight, press into the floor, push their hips up, and come back down. All right, moving into a more bent leg orientation, this will emphasize the glutes a little bit more because we're bending the knees. Again, I'm just pressing up and coming down. With this exercise, I'm not trying to get a crazy lift. A lot of people just come up as high as they can. I want the same rules to apply. I want to tighten my abs, just press up until I feel my glutes hold and come back down. All right, for the final exercise, we have a stability ball rollback. All right, with a rollback, the main thing, we're pushing the ball out and coming back in. The main thing is the clients are keeping the hips at the same level the whole time. What will often happen is they'll drop down and kind of do this, and that's not what we're looking for. What I'm looking for is just as many exercise or as many reps as they can do with good form without dropping their hips. That's really going to work the hamstrings and the glutes together to co-contract, and it's a great exercise. So kind of a starter progression for this, a way to teach it would be the eccentric version where they just come out and come down, come back up and come down. Then it would move to come up, come back, come down. Then it would be just a kind of a simultaneous thing. And what you can also do is actually complex these moves together for an ultimate progression. So maybe a couple hip lifts here, a couple hip lifts here, and then start or end with rollbacks. Really a great circuit and one that's been around for a while. So moving to our next position with this, what we can also do with the stability ball. Oh, and as well, that move can also be done single leg. So, really the sky's the limit in terms of variation. We have a shoulder elevated version. So, again, the same rules apply as on the bench. Just pushing my hips forward and coming down. And with this, we can kind of just make various foot patterns as well, holding in this position. So, again, be creative, kind of play around with it a little bit. And for our final, I guess, series of exercises, one thing I alluded to in our last video was incorporating external resistance such as bags, kettlebells, barbells. In order to do so, we want to utilize something like a towel or a carpet square here that's going to act as something, just a bit of a pad. One comment we get is people will talk about, oh, my bones hurt or whatever. Make sure that, you give them a blue pad or just something to act as a cushion. All right, so I'm going to put this here. Just going to place the bag over my waist. Again, abs are tight, shoulder blades are down and back. Pushing up and coming down. I like the sandbag because it's pretty easy on the hips, and as well, it's you can hold on to it pretty well and stabilize it. You can also use kettlebells or dumbbells. Kettlebells are good for the waist. We only go up to about 35 pounds, but the same rules apply. Hold it in place. Pause at the top and come back down. And then we can move all the way to a barbell where, we might use a couple pads actually. place it under the barbell would be placed over the hips, thrust up and down, you know, in that fashion. And for the barbell hip lift, we would put the back on the bench as well to get a little bit of elevation with that. So, with that said, those are your Peak Fitness hip lift variations.